Every year, me and several of my friends, we get together and we like to make a movie that's about 5 minutes in length. And we only usually have about 2 days where all of us are together where we have time to do it.
We met about 3 or 4 months in advance, and we all sat down around the table and started talking about different concepts or what we wanted to come out of the film.
Gabriel Mays came up with the story, and he kind of pitched the gist of what he wanted to take place from the start to the finish.
So then from there, myself and Brent took and we kind of wrote all the action paragraphs of what needed to happen. And then Rajeev, my co-director, he wrote all the dialogue for the actors.
Originally, the idea was to do something that would look really nice on camera, and then the sound would be really nice. And what ended up happening is that we got really good actors, and then the story actually played out really nice. So it seems as if the story was actually our strength.
The main set was at the art director's house, Juan Gonzalez, and the house it fit the architecture and the style that we needed. And
we kind of liked the look of his house because we had been there before, and we were just like, why don't we shoot there? Because not only do we get the place to ourselves because Juan's on the team, but we can make it look like the way we want, and it kind of had that look already.
So we actually ended up trashing it up. We got a whole bunch of pizza boxes and drinks and beer cans and just kind of trashed his house, would be the best way to say it.
Now, in the garage, it was hard to tell because the lights were so dark, but there was a wooden cage that Brent and I built, and
we spent probably about an hour building that, and all you see is this little islet of a hole, so it's almost kind of pointless, but just one of those fun things that as you work on the film, you kind of pull the props together, the housing together, and before we even start filming, we kind of have all this pre-planned.
So once again, just like on almost every project I work on, I use the Canon 5D Mark III. It's a good camera, and it's something I have access to.
But to concentrate more on getting those cinematic shots, we only used one camera. We used the 5D Mark III, is one of the best cameras that we had, to really make sure that we were picking the correct lenses. Our color correction was right. It was going to match in every shot.
Lens-wise, we used mainly a Rokinon 35 and a Rokinon 85. We were shooting outside in the opening scene, very, very low lights.
We were fortunate enough to have low f-stop lenses and go down to 1.4, but at the same time, we got to have enough light that we're not stressing the camera and getting a lot of noise in our shots.
We had some 2-foot Kinoflows that we used as backlight for our subjects, and also some ambient light. We had a couple of 4-foots that we used in some of the windows. And then I have a couple of 1K LED Fresnels that I used to pop through the window as our key lights. And then we cut some cookies out of cardboard with some slits in them to give kind of the blind effect on the actor's eyes, as well as put some lines on the backdrop just to break it up so it didn't look so flat and even. So that was a really, really fun setup, was that inside scene with just using 5 lights and then practicals was a lot of fun.
Also, that night was our biggest concern, and we weren't sure how to actually light it.
I mean, I wish I would have had a 4K light and a big bucket truck to hoist a monster light up in, but unfortunately we didn't have that.
We actually just used a little LED box, really small little guy up on a monopod stretched way out, and we lit our entire thing through just one little LED box.
Another thing I love about this group is that they like to do all their sound in post.
But in order to do that, it's really nice to have kind of a noise print or a sampling of what's going on in between each scene.
This year we used a Rode Video Pro mic on top of our camera to pick up all the sound from the actual set. And then we do all ADR and post sound after that for the actual film. Having that Rode mic on top gave us great clean audio to sync to with our ADR and with our sound effects. But having that Rode mic to give us a clean sample from is really, really nice to kind of know what sounds are needed. And it's also really nice for the actors to be able to sync with that microphone.
Once we shot the film and we got into editing, we had 3 stations mainly set up. There's 3 editors, and each person had a specific scene that they took. To edit, we used Adobe Premiere, and for coloring, we used SpeedGrade, as well as for any special effects, which I did a lot of, and as well as Andrew Farmer, who did the opening credits, we used After Effects.
Our title sequence was created by Andrew Farmer, who lives in another state. So what we were able to do is Dropbox him scenes, and then he kind of went in After Effects, started playing around, and then he sent me back stuff a couple of hours later. That was just fantastic. It was way better than what my expectations were, and it really flowed well with the movie.
The music was done by Josiah Austin. Joe is in LA this year, and Josiah Austin, he has a gift. I mean, he can create any kind of music.
I remember when we got the score back the very first time, we dropped it in with the opener, And we watch the first scene, and then as soon as the bat hits and the opening scene hits, we were just like, oh my gosh, like we were just like, everyone was freaking out. I mean, it's like 3 a.m, so we were just super amped and excited for what it looked like and sounded like, and Joe just knocked it out of the park. Something funny that we have a lot of people that work with us on set, and so there's a lot of people walking around, wandering around. And our art director, Juan Gonzalez, and he also did our ADR, him and Jake Weinreich were always in the shot. It didn't matter what angle we were at, they were always in the shot. I mean, the actor would just nail just a money shot, and right during the middle of it, Juan would walk across the back of the set.
Apparently, I was like in a lot of shots. You know, I would just be like, apparently, like just walking and they could see my foot or my arm or just my whole body, and they were like, Juan, get out of the shot. That happened, I guess, quite often.
Another funny thing that happened was we kept calling that we wanted, like, give me the macro lens so we could shoot this shot. And so our one of the guys that worked with us, Jake Weinreich, he kept saying we should use the micro lens. And so that kind of became the running joke, was that we wanted the micro lens. And so we always have a good time, and there's always little inside jokes that happen during filming. And working with such a great, talented, hardworking crew is just something that I've been really, really fortunate and blessed to be a part of. The overall product of the film, I'm like extremely happy with. I couldn't ask for better acting, better storyline, better shot selection, editing, sound design. I mean, from A to Z, this film has it all. And I tell you, these people that I got to work with, every single one of them are so happy with the final result that we were able to come up with. And, you know, if we win awards at film festivals, that's great, but that's not why we make films. We make films because it's a passion of ours, and it's something we love to do.
I think it's a real privilege to be able to be a part of a team that does the best because they want to do the best, not for recognition or not for anything else, but just to make a good story, make a good film, and produce such quality work like Small Town.